Okay, so we're doing some Blackout tattoos today.
All right.
Looks like we got some funny stuff in here.
So this one's from Jeffrey. It says, hey, just started my Blackout cover-up. It was very difficult to find someone that has done it or will attempt it. So I gave my local shop a chance. What do you think? I'm 3 weeks into healing and it healed faster than I thought, but it itched like a SOB. I figured I would have to go over it again. I used triple black from Dynamic, but I bought the Dynamic Blackout ink to go over it next time. I know everyone is different, but how long is a decent time to wait in between layers? Should I wait for it to even out a bit, or will the lines not fade out? I value your opinion. After all, you are my inspiration for my Blackout work. Thanks for the video and inspiration. Hope you and yours have a great day. I'm surprised when people say they've bought their own ink and they're not tattooing themselves.
So, like, does he mean to go over it with new work or a second layer? Because
I think he means the second layer.
Yeah, so you only need to wait 3 weeks as long as things are healing well. Some people heal slower than others. This is a no way healed fully.
Yeah, it's still too shiny.
For me, honestly, like, I have had times when I have had things gone over the next week, but I heal very, very quickly. Like, Terry was literally running over some stuff that he tattooed on me a week ago this time, when we were working on the eye at the center. But, like, I would never recommend that to most people. And people will say things like, that's impossible, there's no way you heal that fast. But it's like, oh, I do.
You do.
I get the same arm tattooed every fucking week.
Yeah, he heals really fast.
Like,
it's crazy.
Like, yeah, there's parts that are still healing, but, like, mostly I'm fully healed.
Mm-hmm.
And the general rule of thumb is 3 weeks, but for a Blackout, it can be, I've seen people take Blackouts as long as 2 months to fully heal.
Mm-hmm.
So this is, for example, this is all still very much healing. We had a guy in here this week that you had a little bit of black saturation on. I'd say it was probably 4 or 5 weeks ago, and it was still healing.
It wasn't that long.
How long ago was it?
It was 3 to 4 weeks.
But it was still very shiny.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, it was still very shiny. I even had a lady I did 3 weeks ago, and hers was definitely still healing too.
Also, like, there's something to be said for, like, an artist's technique as well as the person themselves, because, like, some people will cause less damage to the surface.
Yeah, I think I caused a little bit of damage.
You can
still
see the mag lines in all of this. They don't have a lot of, like, maybe they did their best with it, but they're not really confident in what they're doing. For example, I'm watching Terry now, who's doing Blackout all the time for the same reasons that you just said. It is hard to find people close by you that are advertising Blackout, and because Terry is showing that he wants to do it, we're getting a lot of it at the shop now. Obviously, working with me doesn't hurt him at all for that. We have Blackout projects in here pretty much every day now.
It's crazy. I go to clean his floor because it's black and I'm the apprentice, and I'm like, is he doing a Blackout next week? Yeah, he's got like 3. Okay.
Yeah, so it's not because he's the best black worker of all time, but it's because he's showing off that he's doing it.
And he does a decent
and
job.
He's doing a decent job. He's getting better at it all the time, right? And you're seeing smoother, darker heels. You're not seeing any of these mag strokes. But, like, with that said, sometimes you have to be willing to invest in artists to get them to that place. Terry wasn't always as good at that as he is now, so I don't see anything here that can't get better with time, but it's definitely a little bit rough right now. This is not perfect technique by any means.
I'm just wondering if they needed to use a bigger mag. Like, it
I
just
think this was someone else, was it? I don't know.
So all of these ones are the same person.
Is this all? These 3 are the same person.
And then that's, I think, a different person.
Yeah. Now, well, anyway, we'll just concentrate on this. I think it's a little bit strange the way that this has been finished, too.
Well, it seems like they want to keep these things.
I don't know what the idea is here, but I think that symbol on the inside of the black should probably you should at least black out the black that's in there so that it matches up, because it looks a little bit out of place. And then I would probably consider bulldozing that kanji too, but that's just me. Yeah. When this heals, you won't see the mag lines and stuff as much, but they're going to be there. It won't just smooth itself out with time. It's definitely going to need another pass, but I would say you're probably looking for at least another few weeks before I would hit it again. Anyway, that's all I got on that, so let's move along here. Self-blackout. Self-done, you want to read this
It
one here?
says, self-done and all first pass. I broke it down into sections, knowing what I would do from my blackout sleeve, which you commented on years ago. Here's what's new. Enjoy.
And then we got this as well, I think. This is the same person.
Hello, my dear friend. Watching way too long, but you're my addiction. Anyways, brother, here's some self-blackout work I'm doing. Yes, for sure, a second pass, but love my journey.
Yeah, so I think this is all the same person here.
If it's not, we're putting you together.
No, this is all the same.
Okay. Looks decent.
Yeah.
Looks painful.
I mean, I don't actually find the knee to be that bad, to be honest with you. There's some trouble spots in here, but it looks like it's doing okay. Yeah, I think the knee ditch is much worse than the knee for pain. And when it's still peeling like this, it's really hard to tell where we're even at. Like, these are some hard to tell photos.
Well,
'cause we
they're
have
all
this
shiny and
giant glare over everything.
yeah.
And then I kind of like the way that he's done this, like stripe down his leg here.
Yeah.
Where he's done half of his knee and not the
Well,
other.
it's gonna be hard to hit the other side, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Or maybe this is the hard side. I don't know.
I don't know. I think that there's going to be some spottiness here. But I think this is better than ironically, this is better than the one where the guy went to the studio for the
I
blackout.
think they were
so.
using too small of a mag in the studio, and they weren't scrubbing over things enough.
Yeah,
Personally.
This is a cleaner result. I just wish I could see it without all this fucking glare everywhere, but
Right?
this is probably the best shot we've got here. And
Yeah, very shiny.
the thing is like if you can do your own black work, it's great. I just think that so many people can't. Right?
I
Like
think that it's so ouchy feeling and hard to stretch on yourself.
Yeah, Terry did a little bit of his own ankle just to see what it feels like, and he did not get it in there that well.
Well, no.
And he's definitely not going back to do any more of it anytime soon.
One of our other artists, he did some blackout on her, and she was like a bucking bronco the whole time. Like, I thought she was going to die.
Which one? Both of the girls were like that.
Oh, Ash takes it way better than like Alex does.
Yeah, for a lot of people, blackout is definitely a level up in terms of pain. But
Spicy.
to be honest, like I don't find it too much worse. I just find it different. Like I think it's more of like a procedure, you know? It's less like with any art that you're getting on you, it's like you've got different needle groupings and different things happening. Like shading feels different than coloring, and solid black feels different than lining, and so you've got breaks in between where things are changing and you're feeling different things, and you're kind of getting little breathers here and there. Whereas with blackout, it's just this kind of constant same feeling.
Yeah.
And the only thing that changes is the area you're covering. But because a lot of the time you're covering scar tissue and stuff like this, some people are more sensitive to that stuff. Maybe it's that they have some emotional kind of connection to it, or like mental scar tissue almost that goes with it, where they got hurt in that area at some point. So maybe they're more afraid of the feeling. I don't know. Because I honestly can't tell you the difference between covering scar tissue and covering regular skin. And maybe it's because to some degree, all of me has some amount of scar tissue.
Yeah, I think so.
It's been so long since I've had like a black and gray style soft shading tattoo that I don't even know what it would feel like. It must feel like a nice kiss goodnight or something, you know? Everything on me is like a full color, full send. And if you don't do that, you don't get a result, right?
Yeah.
So I think I'm so long away from like not feeling a full color type thing that it's very hard for me to even tell you the difference. Because all blackout is like a full color nonstop, right? And I think so many people, when they get their first blackout tattoo, all they've had is
black and gray.
Yeah, black
Soft
and gray.
shading.
Or a poorly done tattoo, which was probably not painful enough, right? Like if you've got color that isn't in there very well, it wasn't painful enough, right? Because like to get color in correctly, it should go in right away and it should hurt quite a bit, right? But you shouldn't be in there very long. That's how you know the color's going in well, usually. It's like usually when you spend too long doing something and you beat it up too much,
Yeah, you shouldn't be toiling away at the same spot.
you
for
get
a
a
long time.
worse result, right? Like even with Blackout, like when you're covering ground quickly, it should hurt a lot per square inch, but you're not there for very long.
Well, and the artist shouldn't have to be like going over and over and over and over,
Yeah.
right? It should be like your initial pass and then a scrub.
Yeah, exactly. Like you shouldn't be spending too much time in there. And this looks like they were in and out pretty quick. And I could tell because there isn't a lot of trauma done. Like you can't see a lot of the work lines and shit like this. It looks fairly smooth. Whereas with the first one that we seen earlier, this looks like they were really trying hard to get it in there. And that tends to beat the surface up quite a bit.
I just really think that they were using a very small mag.
It's possible. It looks pretty waffly. You know what I mean? Like it looks
Yeah.
pretty like,
Well, maybe cross hatching.
yeah, almost like they were coming in one way and then coming in another way. Their mag technique wasn't, and not to beat the hell out of the guy who did this first one, but yeah, that technique, it has to be smooth. You have to almost smooth it out as you're going.
That's what I mean. You scrub over it real quick.
So
But I also think that like cross hatching would have eliminated some of these mag lines. I think that they, I don't know, kind of went, straight, angle, and they didn't try and blend anything as they went. I don't know.
but like if this episode's proof of anything, it's I've been critical before with these people who do their own blackouts at home, but we have a guy who did his own versus a guy who went somewhere, and the guy who did his own has done a much better job, and he's done a lot more too. I would also say that the first one, it finished pretty high on the wrist as well. I brushed over that last time, but I think that should come all the way down.
Yeah, I have my wrist isn't all the way down.
Yeah,
and
it bugs
would
the hell
look
out of
better.
me.
It would look better if it was, and eventually we'll bring it down.
But yeah, I think this Chaz is doing a very good job of their own knee and lower leg blackout.
I'd like to get some healed pictures.
Yeah, I would like to see how this healed out and where the knee's at today, because a knee is basically just like a giant elbow, and it's very typical that it needs at
Another
least a
pass.
second pass. And I actually think that knees will saturate a little bit easier than elbows for some reason. They're a little less like crinkly. They're a little like, they're not as dry as elbows, maybe because they don't see the elements as much. But they definitely need a little bit of love usually. Whereas elbows are a guaranteed second, maybe even 3 pass.
Yeah.
And I think the only thing that I can equate that to is that elbows, they just get more wear and tear in life. Whereas your knees are kind of just, they're covered with clothing and they're not facing the wind and the dry air as much. So I think they're maybe just a little more protected than the elbows tend to be. At any rate, a good shot for doing it on himself.